You should summarize the main points to the seller over the phone first so they have longer to think about it. Summarize the main points of the offer, price and down payment before presenting every part of the offer, or focus on only gross sale price the sellers will receive. Avoid considering any negatives about the offer before the presentation.
4?
No.
No.
2.
2.
No.
No.
Summarize the main points of the offer, price and down payment before presenting every part of the offer. Summarizing the main points of the offer first will help focus the seller's attention on the most important matters and help overcome any resistance to less important matters such as ownership of fixtures. Okay? So that's
two,
that's what they care about anyway.
I was gonna say, so it is 2.
It is 2.
This one. Focus on
Number 6.
Oh yes, true. Okay.
Okay, we got that.
Okay, 7. The best way to handle multiple offers is to hold all offers for a week in the hopes of getting a better price. Make counter offers to all buyers and tell them that whoever responds fastest can buy the house. Consider offers in the orders they received and register with the broker. Keep all the buyers guessing so they won't withdraw their offers.
3.
It's 3 because not only is that the most fair way, but that is the legal definition of the way to do it.
Right, yeah.
But it doesn't mean that you can't go through each one of those and give your own input and say, this one is higher on price, but the terms suck, I wouldn't recommend, so you can,
Yeah, you can do that.
But the order is legal. People don't always do it that way. They usually are going to put the one first where they get the double-sided or, whatever.
Whatever, yeah.
But really, you should always do it this way because when you have a complaint that they complain with the state, you want to make sure that you have it even documented, not just one word against the other, how you presented them in order. So yeah. All right. When presenting a counter offer to buyers, you should begin by telling buyers that this is the seller's final offer. Hint to buyers that the sellers might accept a lower price than in the counter offer. Focus on the points of agreement between the initial offer and the counter offer. Call the buyers to let them know what the counter offer is.
3. See?
Yes, focus on the points of agreement between the initial offer and the counter offer. Okay, for one, what is the definition of a counter offer?
Well, somebody offers you something and you reject it and you go back with the price.
Rejection of the original offer is the legal definition. So you don't have to counter. You want to get them to counter, but sometimes it's not good to counter. Especially if you think you're going to get a bunch, you don't want to get tied up with multiple offers sometimes, or if it's like unrealistic. Sometimes it's better just to say, no, this is a joke, or, come back with something realistic or don't bother us, that kind of thing. So a counter offer is a rejection. And as soon as they reject anything, they can't just reject one part and think that the rest, let them know that as soon as they do a counter, they're rejecting the whole thing and they don't have to accept anything after that. So that's the risk, is you could lose the whole deal.
It's all or nothing.
Yeah. All right, let's go into this. Handling objections. Handling objections is one thing, but what you really want to do is you want to first try objection elimination by correctly setting up and asking questions. An example, instead of hearing, I need to talk to my partner, I need to talk to my wife at the end, if you make sure that all decision-makers are in the presentation before you go on a listing presentation or before you take out a buyer, you eliminate that objection, okay?
Yeah.
So that's the main point, is that you want to eliminate objections, but our class today is going to be on handling them, okay? But handling objections, you should welcome it, because you're never going to close a sale until you get to the objections and then you overcome them. First, you got to find out what they are, then you actually have to overcome them, okay? An objection like, I need to think about it. You know what that means? It means you gave them too much data, you just bored them, like they're in a classroom, you gave them all this info and stats and all this crap, and they're like, oh, I gotta think about this because you gave them too much to digest.
Too much
Okay.
information.
You gave them too much information. It also can mean, I don't trust you. You gave me all this info, but I got other brokers to talk to, but I don't trust you. I don't know you. I'm not ready to, I'm not ready to hire you yet. The other one, you did not close me on you being the one to do the job, okay? Whether it's with a buyer, or more likely with a listing presentation, they have to be convinced that you're gonna be the one to be able to sell the property because they're also gonna meet with other brokers. So when they say I gotta think about it, that's usually one of those things that you did not do the job you needed to do to get a yes. The objection, I have never heard of your company. Okay, you're usually gonna get that on the phone, but you can get that anytime, okay? So the two when you're on the phone is, great, most people are near their computer or they have their phone, they can like get on there. So I get them right on and I say, oh, go to peakcorp.com. And I can give you a quick tour and you can like go through all the entities, and if they don't know who we are, you can introduce the company right then and there on the computer. But most likely that's not going to be the outcome, but this other one is good because you end up with an email address. So he says, okay, give me your email and I will send you information introducing myself and Peak Commercial, okay? So then you have somebody else's email address to add to your database, and that's someone you're going to keep in touch with, but you also are going to send them info about yourself, send them info about Peak, show them some of our listings, show them about our website and things, and then you're going to call them back like the next week and say, oh, Mr. Jones, did you get the email that I sent you everything about? Okay, and then you can go into, they won't be able to use, they don't know who we are anymore.
Yeah.
All right.
That's probably the best one, wouldn't you say, or something?
Well, I don't know which is the best, but they're
Yeah,
all,
right, but
yeah,
that's
they're
a
all
good
good.
one, yeah.
That's a good one. Okay. Okay. Steps to overcome an objection. They give you an objection, repeat it back so that you understand it and they can hear it out loud. So if it sounds ridiculous, it'll sound ridiculous to them. But basically, you just do the old, okay, so if I can lower my commission to 4%, you're gonna sign the agreement with me today. Pretend you are going to be able to do it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you agree to whatever they say and they're going to come up with something else, you know they're full of crap, okay? Because if it's a true objection, if you overcome it or you can eliminate it to their satisfaction, they should be ready to do some business. If they
Right.
come up with something else, that means they're not real. They're
Not
full of
ready
it.
at all.
Yeah,
Right.
they're full of it, okay? So, if I could, would you? Great, let's do it. If they say, can I do it for a discount commission? Let me call my broker, let me ask. Doesn't hurt to ask. And then, if there's one thing like, oh, I gotta sell this, I have to get my credit score up to this, I have to, if this, whatever it is their objection gets taken care of, are you ready to move forward, okay? And the reason you do this is you wanna find out, you're gonna always have buyers that will buy something if the right property comes along. And you don't want to be taking those people out. Those are like investors that, you just want to keep sending them stuff, like off-market stuff on email, but they're not like 60 or 90-day guys. They're not hot prospects.
Yeah.
So you want to find out if they're ready to do something now. Those are the ones you want to be out with. For other people, you might just want to put them on your back burner until their financial situation changes or until you send them enough properties till they find one that, okay, yeah, I'm ready to make a move on this one, okay?
Let me ask you a question.
Mhm.
When they bring up that financial thing, like they want to prove their credit score, they don't, and you offer to say, well, maybe I can give you a hand. So that way it helps pushing them along a little bit, or see where they're really at.
Well, that's the thing, is that if they're real, they will welcome that.
Yeah.
Or they'll tell you what they're already doing. Oh, I already got, my
Right.
lender's already got me on a plan and I got it up like 20 points. I need it. If they're serious, then that could be a real deal.
It could be
Okay.
a real deal,
Yeah,
but you gotta
because-
find out if,
Yeah.
yeah.
But if you offer to say, hey, you know, our lender does a free service where we can like look at all your scores, it won't hurt your score, and we'll help you and show you and analyze your credit on what you need to do to get it up within like, you know, a couple months. If they go, oh, that's great. Or they say, well, I'm already working with, you know, a service and, you know, so find out if they're real or not.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Here are the 5, well, it's probably more, but these are the 5 that you guys wrote down on your things. And I do have, we do have a few people missing today, but it's a good thing because they're actually out on appointments. Eric's with the buyer, Dave's with the seller, so I mean, it's a good thing. Okay. Some of the most common objections, and this will all be on Dropbox, and we can email it to you guys. I got one extra copy, but basically, most common objections in commercial real estate. And you guys, I'm going to ask it first, and you can give me yours, then I'll give you what I also came up with. I don't want to sell. Normally, you're going to hear that on the phone. But what is your response when I don't want to sell is the objection? Okay, well, that's why you guys
When do you
need
think
this
you'll be
question.
ready to sell?
Hmm?
When you gonna be ready to sell? When do you think you're gonna be ready to sell? Like, do you have time?
Never. I'm happy with the income I'm getting from my building. Why would I
How
want to
about
sell?
if I give you a good offer?
That's one. That's one. Is there a price that you would consider selling? That's
That's what
one.
you said.
Yeah. Okay. Here's my response that has worked pretty well, but there's always variations of it. But I understand 9 out of 10 people I talk to are not selling. The purpose of my call or visit is to introduce myself and my company. We can provide buyers, refinance quotes, 1031 exchange info, market research, and much more. We want you to be informed, know the value of your property is very important. We want to be the company you call 6 weeks or 6 years from now. I want to be able to show you how our large pool of buyers, brokers, and the fact that we own 11 different real estate related companies give us advantages no other brokerage can match. Okay? So basically you want to sound different from every other broker that's calling them to say, you know, I want to list your property or do you want to sell? Let them know that we just want to do an evaluation. We want to evaluate their property. So ask them, when's the last time you had it evaluated? Do you know what your property's worth? Okay? And then if they say, well, I have no idea, it's been a long time because I don't want to sell, then say, well, we just wanted to give you this information so that you're informed, and we want to be the ones you call, whether it's, 6 years or 10 years from now. Okay? Do you own stocks? Do you have a 401k? Okay? Most people, what are they going to say? Okay. Do you know how much your stocks are worth? How often do you check your stocks? How often do you check your 401k? Because you get a statement every month. Most people check their stocks and their 401k pretty regular. Why wouldn't they check their investment property, which is worth way more than that? Okay? So let them know this is the chance just to see what the value is. Okay? All right. We're going to relist with the same agent. What do you guys say to that?
He's
in jail.
Why would you do that?
Well, they didn't sell it before, why would you?
Why
Yeah.
not give us a chance to see how?
Well,
much
that's
better
that's
we
kind
are?
of what you want to get across, but you want to say it more professionally because
Yeah,
we're
right,
both
yeah, right.
professionals. But yeah, why would they waste their time with someone who couldn't sell it the first time? Okay, now it might not be the agent's fault that it didn't sell because maybe the seller is not realistic on price. So it doesn't matter how much marketing or what they do, if it's overpriced, that could be part
Or
of the
that
problem.
agent could have originally sold that property to them.
Yeah,
Now they may want, they want to talk to him because they bought it from him.
yeah. Okay, but let's go with an agent's had it and it's expired and they say, no, I'm gonna give him another chance because he says he's got a couple people hot to trot or he's gonna spend more money, whatever. So
Yeah.
this is the response. Have you already signed a new listing agreement? No, great, because if they have, you got nothing to go
Yeah,
on.
right.
Okay, if it's already signed, you're done.
Yes.
Move on. Okay. So what I would be wondering is this: what new strategies is the agent going to use in the next 3 months they didn't already try in the last 6 months? when they had it on the market before. Does that make sense, Mr. Smith? Because obviously you want to put the property, you don't want to just put the property on the market not to have it sell again, right? To have the same guy not sell it again, okay? All I need is about 30 minutes together to show you how we would sell your building. If I sold in the next 60 days, would that pose a problem for you? No, excellent. All I need is a little bit of time to show you how we can get dramatically different results than what you experienced the last time. You do want to sell your property this time, right? So basically, you just go into a, when's the time, good time for us to get together tomorrow at 4:15 or 5:15. You basically just want to get in front of them and you want to let them know how what we have to bring to the table is, but the main thing that will sell the property, because everybody puts it on CoStar and, online, it's going to be price, okay?
Yeah.
So you can manipulate price or you can manipulate commission, okay? Because if they're not going to go down on price, you might be able to convince them to up the commission to make it more attractive to other agents. Because if they're trying to skimp on commission, that could be another reason other agents are not showing it, okay? So you want to try to do both. You want to try to make the commission as attractive to other agents, but you also want to make the price competitive. So the main thing you do on a relisting is you show them all the buildings that have sold around there that their building would have sold if it was priced right, because there were buildings selling in this area. Your building's just overpriced. Or how many people came through here, because every other building is at a 5%, so they're going to get 2.5%, and your building is at 3%, so they're not going to look at it for 1.5% commission. Okay?
Don't you actually have to kind of be careful when you start discussing time frames, like you mentioned? What if I could sell your property in 60 days? If you start doing that, the only way that property is going to go if it's priced right. If he's overpriced, you're probably not going to sell it in 60 days.
Yeah, but you got to get the listing
So
first
you
to have
gotta
that
get
problem.
there. Yeah, right.
But the thing is that you have to do something to get yourself in the door
Okay.
and to give yourself a chance. But it's like, you don't want to take over a listing that is going to be the same price and same commission. Didn't work for the last guy.
Didn't work for the last
So
guy, right.
you got to be able to convince them, and sometimes you can take an overpriced listing as long as you agree that within a couple weeks, if it doesn't get some traction, they will lower it to the price that you think it's worth.
Yeah.
Okay? So just, if you have someone that's not motivated, it's tough. But if you have someone that really wants to sell, price is what's going to sell it.
Price is what's
And
gonna sell it.
number of people going through there.
Yeah.
So you have to get brokers to bring their people through, and that has to do with what the co-op commission
Yeah,
is.
right, yeah.
And so you have to tell them that. You have to be honest with
No,
them.
true, absolutely.
But you also have to do some kind of salesmanship to get your foot in the door and to get the listing.
Yeah.
Okay? So, you might not sell it, but you can have that problem 60 days down the road.
Yeah,
But it's all
right,
going to
right,
have to do with your pricing strategy.
Right.
Okay. Okay. A decision maker no show. My business partner couldn't make it. What do? You go to a listing appointment and it's two partners that own the building and one of them's not there. What do you do?
Well, you can ask him, should I come back, or when will he be available, or
Reschedule what happened.
reschedule, or if this guy's, if you feel, if you've been talking to a guy long enough, and you know that he's got pretty much the power of the two, then you can go along and make a presentation to him too, instead of just wasting your whole day. So, there's different ways of handling
Right,
the
I can go ahead and
situation.
keep the appointment that was set and go ahead with it, so we're not wasting anybody's time, then we can update the other partner, text them or whatever, so it's not a waste of time for anybody, really.
You could, and if you had nothing else to do, that would be fine. But the thing is, you're not going to get a deal right then and there with
Yeah.
the other partner gone, and you don't want this person you're telling to deliver your presentation. So the best recommendation is to reschedule.
Reschedule.
But you got to do it the right way. And there is a way, here, let me just read what I have. Okay. Let's do this. When would be a better time for us to meet with both of you, when both of you can be here? I can either come back for an hour, I can go to lunch, I can come back in an hour or two, can you get them here? Or can we set something up for tomorrow at 3:15 or 4, which is better for you, okay? That's okay, you can just show me, then I'll take it over, I'll talk it over with my business partner. I appreciate that, and I'd like to be able to do that. However, it's very important that all of us be able to meet, since obviously I'm going to be working with both of you, right? That's the way we can make sure we're all on the same page, and then I can answer both of your questions, then go right into the what's better tomorrow, or you want me to go do some errands, I can come back and, you know. So sometimes they don't understand. It could be one partner that really wants to sell and the other one he's really not as interested. So with that one, it's a waste of time to do the whole thing anyway. Okay? There is also the chance that if one just is out of the area, just travels, whatever, that you can at least do a FaceTime or a Skype or a conference call. Nowadays, they can be wherever and still be able to like hear you on the phone. Okay? So that would be a backup, but don't waste your time doing a one-legged, it's called, a one-legged presentation.
Yeah.
Because you're never gonna get a deal that way. It doesn't work. It's just, you know, waste
So
of
you're
time.
saying a conference call could work that way? for
What I'm saying
partners?
is you really want them both together because that's ideal. But if you offer all this and they're like, that's not gonna work, he's always on the road, he's running around all the time. I'm like, okay, I can give the presentation to you and we can FaceTime him. So when can we get him on the phone for half hour? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What are you going to do different than your competition or the other broker? Okay. How do you handle that? When you're in a presentation and they're saying, what are you going to do different than the Marcus Millichap or the Keller Williams commercial guy?
Keep you updated constantly with any changes. I mean, get that relationship going to bring it around to where we get the clientele. I mean, keep them posted constantly.
Dig deep and see what they actually want, and then try to base your presentation on that.
Well, the best way is just to keep it simple because really at this point, you don't have a presentation, so you can't, really you just want to keep it simple and try to like get back to when do you want to meet, but you just kind of just make a joke about, well, what I'm going to do different is I'm going to actually sell your property. I'm going to get it done in the best amount of time with the least amount of hassle and put the money in your pocket and get you into your exchange property in Texas. So basically you're going to use their objectives, what they want, as your points, and then go right back into, let me show you everything that I can do that's different than my competition. When's better for you, tomorrow at 3 or 4? Alternate close. You always go back to setting up the appointment. It's all getting to that. Okay? Yes.
I have a question, basically, most people, are they offended by high pressure sales, or when do you kind of back off a little bit, or you don't, or are they offended by that? Keep on, because some of
Okay.
these firms and people
Okay.
have financial.
Being nice will let you starve because there's going to be another shark that's going to come and close that deal. So whoever comes and closes it, but you don't have to be, you can still be professional and be nice and you can still be a good person and still be tough and a closer, okay? But commercial real estate is full of killers and full of sharks.
So let me ask you a question.
And-
Are these people, do they have financial advisors, or are they offended when we call as a salesperson are we interrupting what they have going on in their
Well,
firm?
most of the time we call during the, when they're doing business hours, and they do get a lot of calls, so that means you have to have something that's valuable to them to be worth their time, but they're used to getting those type of calls. And people in commercial real estate are business people, and they do not get offended by someone who's very good at
Okay.
business and at closing. They want a killer, they want you to be their killer.
I see.
You're in there for money,
Yeah.
period.
that's
There's no
exactly-
emotion in it.
Yeah.
Okay, so they want aggressive people.
Right. They
basically.
don't want someone who's not aggressive.
Okay.
Too nice, whatever. They'll go to lunch with you, but they're not going to do business with you. Yeah.
That's what Gil said in the meeting, if you don't
Okay.
have something right then and there, he gonna talk to you.
Yeah. Exactly.
Our owner said.
Mhm. Okay, so what about, I will sign with you, but you must cut your commission. What do you say to that one?
Well, you ask your broker, I have to ask my broker.
That's part of it, but. Okay, so one, you didn't probably do a good enough job building the value of what you offer and yourself, because, you know, I mean, not everybody's just gonna automatically expect a discount if you convinced them you're worth a full commission,
Yeah.
okay? But here is how to cover that. Cut it to what, okay? Because if you're pitching 5% and they wanna cut it to 4, that's not bad. We probably got a deal, okay? Then you go to, okay, if I could, would you sign with me today? Okay? And if they say no, they're full of it, and you got to move on to something else, because once you overcome a real buyer or seller's objection, they do business.
Yeah.
Okay? They keep coming up with new objections, they're full of it. So move on. But here's what you say. Cut it to what? So if I go from 5 to 4%, you'll sign with me today? Let me call my broker, because we really don't do that. Call me, pretend you got special permission, and tell them we'll do it, but they can't tell anyone else about it. Okay? All right. The other thing is, you can offer them a discount if we sell the property. So let them know that it's going to be a 6.5, a 5.4, or a 4.3 commission. Okay, you ever heard of that?
Yeah,
I have.
yeah, I have, yeah.
Okay. So let's say it's $1 million property.
Right.
You say, we'll do it for 6% because I got to have 3% split with the other side.
Right.
But if I sell it or someone in my office sells it, we'll discount it and we'll do it for 5. So they get a break if Peak is the one that sells.
Right, yeah.
Okay. So 5.4 is 5%. If an outside brokerage sells it, if we sell it, it's 4.3. Unless the property is over 10 million, that's when we're talking 6.54s. Once you get up to over 10 million, the price goes down. Okay, like this $40 million deal that Mark is doing, that's a 1% commission. But on 40 million, that's still $400,000.
Yeah.
Okay,
Exactly.
they're not going to pay you 6.54 once you get up to that price range. In fact, there's even in that price range, there's even half a point commission, which you got to split in half, so each person gets a
Quarter.
0.2. Yeah. So once you get up to certain price points, you know, it's all negotiable, but if they want 1% or less, explain how it works. Okay, sometimes they don't know. Let them know that you have to split your commission with an outside broker, that you split it in half with them. So if it's not attractive enough, they are not going to show it. Also, let them know that your marketing budget is based on what the commission is. Okay? So if there's not much commission there, explain that there's not going to be as much marketing budget for them, which is less exposure for their property, and they want as much exposure as possible. Okay, so let them know that we're full service, that we're not a discount agency where they just, like, you know, some of these flat rate places on residential will just like put it in the MLS and they don't do anything else. They just wait for another broker to sell it. Tell them we proactively go after business. We don't just put it on all the sites everyone else does. Let them know that the buyer pool is here in Los Angeles, but that they don't always can find the returns they want here. So we have to search properties nationwide for the investors. But the money's here, and we also work with a lot of brokers and off-market properties. Explain to them that commercial is different than residential, okay? A lot of sellers that will sell their property don't want it aggressively marketed with signage and all that, because they don't want their tenants or their employees to know that the property's for sale.
It's true, man.
Yeah. So let them know those differences, and the more you inform them, the more you're going to build value, and the more knowledge you have, the more of these deals you're going to close. Okay? Anyone have any questions or any objections that we didn't cover? These are kind of like the main ones, but
Yeah.
all right. Thanks for coming, everyone.
Thank you.